what is the resultant force obtained for this particular type of forces, right? So it is similar to the previous problem what you have solved. So only a little bit changes where you have to make it, right? So we use principle of transmissibility, right? We use principle of transmissibility. So to change this force direction, so in some other location, because if you look here, this force is along this direction, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift it to this point. Okay, so that shifting we got as principle of transmissibility, right? We are going to use that to shift it, right? Okay, so let me draw one xy axis, something like this. So let me consider like this. Okay, so this is my axis, right? In this, what are the forces I have? So I will just put a plus sign. So wherever your force starts, so my this 20 kilonewton is starting here. I put a plus here, so it is in second quadrant, right? So which means I can mark it here. So this is my force, right? Sorry, I will draw better. So this is my force, right? This force is 20 kilonewton, and the angle of this is 60 degree. So which is mentioned here, right? It is 60 degree, right? Next, 6 kilonewton, it is acting along this line. So which means I can draw similar to this. So like this, right? 6 kilonewton and 26 kilonewton, that is also on the same line. So I can draw like this, right? So this is 6 kilonewton and this is 26 kilonewton, right? And this 20, the arrow, so arrow is here. It is touching the origin, right? So what I have to do is I have to put a plus sign here. So at the beginning of the force, this is my beginning of the force. So put plus sign here. You can able to see that this force is in third quadrant, right? And you can able to see the 60 degree with respect to x-axis, right? Similar to that, when I shift it, you will get the same thing. So I'm going to shift it here. Okay, I'm going to shift it here. So this is my force. So my force is 20 kilonewton. And this angle is 60 degree with respect to x-axis, right? So this is also 60 degree with respect to x-axis, right? This is how you have to shift your force. Any doubt on this, shifting this force?
No, sir.
Okay. Now we will start with drawing the tabulation. So we put a tabulation. Let me consider here. So I'll put a tabulation here, right? So this is my table, right? This table has 3 rows. Sorry, 3 columns. So let me put it like this, right? Something like this. Okay. So what are the things I need? Forces. So my force, this is my Fx horizontal force, and this is my Fy vertical force. Let's start with 26, right? So you have 26 kilonewton. It is already horizontal, so that will be directly written as 26 kilonewton here. And you don't have Y, so Y is 0, right? It is positive because it is in positive direction, right? Next, this 20 kilonewton. So you have 20 kilonewton with an angle 60 degree, right? So in that case, when I shift it, so what I do, I have to bring this force to x-axis. What you will get? Your angle is decreasing or increasing?
-20 cos 60, sir.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it is minus 20 cos 60 degree, right? And this will be plus 20 sin 60 degree. When I bring it to y, right, you will get a positive one. So next, I have 6 kilonewton. Let me write 6 kilonewton here, right? So this 6 kilonewton is in x-axis negative direction. So minus 6 kilonewton. This is not available, right? Last, I have 20 kilonewton. Another 20 kilonewton. This is something like this with an angle 60 degree. Again, bring it to x-axis. And I bring it to x-axis, it is negative, y also negative. So this will be minus 20 cos 60. So because it is decreasing, and this also minus 20 sin 60. Right? So these are the overall forces. Right? So what you get, you can able to see here. So now itself we can able to see here. I think you can, when you add this gets 0. So this gets cancelled, right? One is plus 20 cos 20 sin 60 and another is minus 20 sin 60. It will be 0, right? So what is my sigma fx? Okay, this is also 0 and this is also 0. Both are 0, right? In that case, do you have any resultant? The resultant is 0, right? So when you have a sets of force, which makes it to 0, or if your resultant is 0, then we call this as equilibrium condition. We call this as equilibrium condition, right? When you will achieve equilibrium condition? When sigma fx is 0 and when sigma fy is equal to 0. So because if resultant is 0, both x and y should be 0, then only you will get the resultant as 0. Right? This is the condition where it is in equilibrium. What do you mean equilibrium? So equilibrium is something which is at resting state, right? Your object is at resting state. That one we call it as an equilibrium condition, right? Anyway, so we will discuss this later briefly after we complete one more problem, right? So hope you can understand this, right? We'll proceed with the next one, right? It has a combination, so a force as well as this values, right? So actually this diagram, so whatever which is indicating the force, we call this as free body diagram. Free body diagram, right? So first you have to achieve this free body diagram. After you achieve this free body diagram, you have to draw another diagram which is called as a force diagram, right? So your force diagram should be like this. So it should have plus sign, right? It should have a plus sign like this, right? This based on this. So this is force diagram. Right, indicating all the forces here. First, so this force is 300 Newton. It is on x-axis, which means I will draw it like this, right? So let me consider this color, right? It will be like this. So this is 300 Newton. It's my first force. Second force, 400 Newton, right? Second force is 400 Newton. It is here in this location, right? It is moving like this, right? At 30 degree. Okay. So this is 400 Newton. The angle of this is 30 degree. That is given. Next, you have 250 Newton. So when I put a plus here, it is in second quadrant, right? So we have 250 Newton. Let me draw that one. Right, something like this. Okay, this is my 250. but they have not mentioned the angle. Instead, they are given some values, some slope values in terms of 5, 3, 4. It is like this. So you have a right angled triangle which has hypotenuse of 5, opposite side of 3, and adjacent side of 4. What will be the angle theta? I can use tan inverse of 3 by 4. Right? I can use tan inverse of 3 by 4. What is your angle theta? So you are getting 36.86 degree. Right? These are the three forces. There is no other force. Right? So that's it. This is my force diagram. Right? Once you complete this, then we will proceed with the tabulation. Okay? So either you can go for tabulation or without tabulation also you can solve. It is up to you. All right? Sigma Fx equal to what? I'll go one by one. I'll make it to your x-axis and I'll write it directly as one equation, right? Sigma Fx. So let me identify. So you have 300. It is in x-axis, positive x-axis. So I will directly write down 300. 400. Bring it to x. Your angle is decreasing, and it is also positive x-axis. So since your angle is decreasing, it will be cos. So 400 cos 30, right? So plus 400 cos 30 degree, right? This one, bring it to x-axis. It is a negative x-axis, and again your angle is decreasing. It is cos. So minus 250 cos 36.86. I am getting in a one step. So what is your sigma Fx? 446.38 Newton. Right? Now, I'll go for sigma Fy. I'll go for sigma Fy and I will equate it. First force, you don't have Fy because it is already horizontal. So leave this. When we got off this one, bring it to y-axis. It is positive y and your angle is increasing. So it is sine. So it is 400 sine 30. Bring this to y. Again, you have a positive y-axis. That is also increasing. Right? So plus 250 sine 36.86. So what is your sigma Fy? So you got 350 Newton. Right? So you got this value. So Fx is identified, Fy is identified. So both are positive. So your resultant will be in first quadrant because both are positive. Right? Let us identify what is the resultant. Right? What is the formula for resultant? Root of sigma Fx square plus sigma Fy square. So I'll write down. So R is equal to root of sigma Fx square plus sigma Fy square. Right, which is equal to root of 446.36 square plus 350 square. Right. So what's your answer? 567.23 Newton. Now let us identify what is the angle. Angle is equal to tan inverse of sigma Fy divided by sigma Fx. Right, which is equal to tan inverse of 350 by 446.36. So it's your alpha, 38.09 degree. So in that case, this is my answer. Your resultant R is equal to 567.23 Newton. First quadrant, right, at 38.09 degree. Okay. Now equilibrium. So as I told you, equilibrium is defined as a state of balance or in a stable situation, right? So if I add all the forces, your force should be equal to 0, right? So as we know that, so according to Newton's law, so it says that your object is at resting state until otherwise further force is applied. Okay, so that is one law. So the equilibrium also deals with the same thing, right? So your object is always at a resting state, right? Is always at a resting state. So there is no movement of the object. So you know that you have a fan in your home, right? You know what is the weight of the fan. It is not falling down actually, right? Why? What is the reason?
The required force holds the fan, sir.
Yeah, very good, very good. So you have a clip or something like it, which is holding the fan. That clip force is equal to the weight of the fan, right? It is just making it to zero, right? So the weight of the fan making your object to come down, right? So due to the gravity force. But what happens is that clip is holding the object that is having the reaction force opposite to that. Okay, so that your fan is at a resting state, right? All the objects are at a resting state, right? If that force is not there, so if there is no resistance, what happens? Your object will be moving, right? Your object will be moving. So consider that there is a space traveler who is in a space. He doesn't have any gravity or nothing else. So what happens? So there is no resistance force, right? If there is no resistance force, it means that it will be always in a moving object, right? The object, it won't be stable, it won't rest, right? Until you apply some pressure or force to make it to rest. Okay, so that is very, very important, right? That is what we call it as an equilibrium. So in order to achieve equilibrium, as I discussed earlier, your resultant should be equal to 0, which means the sigma fx is equal to 0 and sigma fy is equal to 0, right? So consider this example also. So two persons are holding, trying to move that person, the bigger one, the fat one, but he is not moving, right? So it means that it is at an equilibrium state. He is at an equilibrium state. Okay. So this is one example of equilibrium, right? So there is one more term which is called as resultant and equilibrium, equilibrant, right? So whenever you have a force, a set of force which makes your object to move, right? That one we call it as a resultant. Okay. So what we identify is if you have 6 or 7 forces, you combine all these forces, you will get a single equivalent force, right? That force we call it as a resultant. This will make your object to move, right? Right. So equilibrant is always opposite to resultant, which makes it to equilibrium state, right? Which makes it to equilibrium state, right? So when you include equilibrant along with resultant, what you will get, you can say that object is in equilibrium condition, right? So that is what it happens, right? So for example, if this is my resultant, equilibrant is opposite to this, right? Which is opposite, same value, same magnitude value, so that there is no movement, right? So same example, if I consider this object, the two person who is trying to pull. So since there are two forces are acting, that is a resultant force. Since the object is not moving, the fat guy is a equilibrant. Okay, there is another example related to this. We use a new theorem which is called as Lami's theorem, right? This is applicable when you have 3 forces. So still now we discuss about 2 forces, a parallelogram law, triangle law, right? This is another one which is Lami's theorem, right? It is similar to triangle law, right? So if there are 3 coplanar forces acting at a point B in equilibrium, right? So if these 3 forces are in equilibrium condition, then each force is proportional to the sine of the angle between the other two, right? It's similar to your triangle law. So for example, if you have this force F1, F2, F3, right? So as per Lami's theorem, it says that your F1, so this is my F1, opposite to this is alpha, right? You can able to see here, right? This is my F1, opposite to this is alpha, right? So F1 by sine alpha is equal to F2, opposite angle is beta, So F2 by sine beta is equal to F3, opposite is gamma. So F3 by sine gamma, right? So this is a formula which will be used to identify forces, mostly forces or reactions based on different types of conditions, right? So we call this theorem as a Lame's theorem, right? Okay. So before we go to this, first we have to know how to identify the free body diagram, right? Let me proceed. So these are the different types of supports we have in our conditions, right? So first one, we call it as a pin support. So for example, you can able to see scissors or staplers. You have this pin, right? So what happens here is this scissor, it has two blades. This scissor, it has two blades. It is connected by means of this screw, right? You have a screw here, which is connected. So if I apply a force in x-axis, whether this blade will come out of this, is it possible to come out? Yes. So this blade, I consider this blade. So apply a force in x-axis, whether it will come out. So without having any contact with the blade 2. Will it come out?
No, sir.
No, it won't, right? So which means you have something, there is some force which is resisting, right, to come out of it, right? So you have resistance in x-axis now. Similarly, if I apply a force in y-axis, that is also, even in y also, it won't come out. So you have resistance in y-axis also, right? So it means that whenever you have a pin support, right, whenever you have a pin support, you will have two reactions, right? There is two opposing forces, right? One is with respect to x-axis, other is with respect to y-axis, right? There is also another example of pin support, right? Here also, if I apply a force in x-axis, this won't come out, or in y-axis, it won't come out. But you can able to rotate it. That is different. You can able to rotate it, but you can't remove from the spin. Okay. So we have two reactions. So whenever you see any support like this, a pin support, you have to put two reactions, right? Opposing reactions, AXN, AY. Roller support, right? You have a roller support. So roller is, let me consider you have a rolling chair, right? A rolling chair with you. So something like this, right? You have some rollers. What happens if I apply a force in x-axis?
It will move, sir.
It will move. So that means there is no force. Opposing force is negligible, right? So which means there is no reaction force in x-axis. But if you sit in the chair or if I apply a force in y, there is no movement. There is no movement, which means you will have one reaction, right? One reaction. So whenever you see a roller support, you will have one reaction, right? Always in y direction, right? Or opposite to, so you can identify from the whatever the support it is, right? Sometimes it may also be like this. So you have this rod like this. You may have a support like this also, a roller. In this case, X is applicable, Y is not applicable, right? It depends on the condition, right? It will vary, right? So these are some forces which has only one reaction, right? We call that as a roller support, right? We call that as a roller support, okay? Right. So there are other similarity of roller supports, something like this, right? These are also roller supports. What is this? So you have a pin, a slot and a pin, right? You have a slot and a pin. If you apply a force, this will move, right? This will move. Or otherwise, a piston cylinder arrangement. Your piston will be moving inside, right? These things also will have only one reaction. So similarly, fixed support. Fixed support is everything is fixed. Right? Consider you have a window shade fixed in your home, right? Or any concrete slabs which is fixed. So you can't apply. So whatever you apply a force, there is no movement, right? Which means you will have reaction in all the three. So you have x-axis, y-axis, and you can also you can't able to rotate it also. So you have moment also, right? Rotation we call it as moment, right? That is also not possible. So you have reaction in all these directions, right? So these are the different types of supports, right? Mostly we have roller, pin, and a fixed support. You have a rope connected to it or a spring connected to it. So which means you have a force related to that. We call this as a tension force, right? Along the direction of your spring or your rope. Okay. You have a smooth contact. So they mentioned as a smooth contact. Smooth means if you consider that you have oil here, so which means when I apply a force in x-axis, it will move easily, right? So only y is restricted. So you have y, right? There's another set. So if you are rough is like a hinge support or a pin support. You have two reactions. Pin support, of course, pin is also two reactions, right? So roller supports all comes under this one, right? Fixed support, yeah, this. So these are some exercises. Let me consider here. So can you tell me how many reactions will be here, or how many forces will be here for this particular problem? You have something like this: tension, weight of this particular object, and of course, A1, A2. Since it's a pin support, you have two reactions. So totally you have 1, 2, 3, 4 forces. Consider this one. How many forces? You have 2 in pin joint. Of course, the direction doesn't matter. So you have 2 in pin joint and 1 force towards support direction, right? So totally 3, right? Consider this one. So you consider this as a free body diagram. I am going to concentrate only this as a free body diagram, right? So when you look at this, right? So I can say that your weight here, mass, 1 force. It is connected to a rope. So you will have 1 force like this, right? So you have a pin joint again. You have a pin joint here, which has 2 forces. So totally 1, 2, 3, 4 forces. You have 4 forces, right? Okay. What about this one? It has 4 forces because this surface is rough. So here you have 2, weight is 1, and this one 4 forces, right? Okay. So what about this one? So you have a pin joint here, you have a roller type of joint here, and 1 force, which means, right, I will stop here. We will discuss about few more examples in next class.